All right, today we're going to unpack a really powerful idea from the philosopher Ralph Waldo Trine, but we're going to frame his wisdom for our world right now. It's all about a hidden power you already have, but you might not even realize you're using it, and that is the power of your presence. So let me start with a question for you. Think about the people who've had the biggest impact on your life. Do you remember, like, a checklist of all the advice they gave you? Or do you remember what it felt like to just be in the room with them? Yeah, that feeling, that presence, that's exactly what we're going to get into. Now, the central idea from all of Trine's work is actually pretty simple. It's this: your internal state, what's going on inside your head and your heart, isn't just a private little thing. Nope. It's the engine, the creative force that's actually shaping everything in your life. What's happening inside you is literally causing what happens around you. Okay, so how in the world does that work? Let's break down this idea of an invisible current and try to understand what spiritual influence is in a way that actually makes sense for everyday life. Think of spiritual influence as the vibe, the energy that just radiates from you. It's the quality of your inner world. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions. All of that stuff creates a kind of current that shapes your life, your work, your relationships. And it does it all without you having to push or shove or force a single thing. So Trine, he was convinced that we all have these deep interior powers. He believed the cause of everything coming into your life, the good and the bad, is found right inside you. The whole key then is to wake up to this fact and learn how to work with that power, not against it. And Trine had this brilliant metaphor to explain how we're connected to this universal power. I want you to imagine the entire ocean. Vast, powerful, the source of everything. That's the infinite. Now imagine one single drop of water from that ocean. That's you. Now that drop isn't the whole ocean, of course, but it has the exact same essence. You're a part of the whole, which means you have all of its qualities right inside you. And this is where the whole idea becomes super practical, because there is a massive difference between influencing your world and trying to control it. See, control is all about force. It's pressure, it's friction, and let's be honest, it's usually driven by fear. It's like trying to swim against a really strong current. It's just exhausting, and you don't get very far. Influence, on the other hand, is about alignment. It's about finding that current and moving with it. It's all about creating harmony and building trust, and that lets things unfold way more naturally. So much of our life is spent just trying harder. More effort, more hustle, more pushing. But what if that's not the answer? What if simply aligning our inner state with what we want to create is actually the more powerful way to go? But if we have this power, why do we feel so powerless so much of the time? Well, Trine's work would suggest that our influence is being drained away by these things he called inner leaks. These leaks are basically just internal habits that give our power away. Things like scattered attention, it just dissipates your energy, or believing that luck or fate is in charge of your life. Psychologists actually call this having an external locus of control. It just makes you passive. And when you start to see yourself as a creature of circumstance, you're pretty much telling yourself that you're a victim. And, well, that story usually becomes the self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay, let's make this really tangible. How does this whole influence versus control thing actually show up day to day? We're going to look at 3 areas you'll probably recognize. So, at work, the control approach, well, that's the micromanager, right? Breathing down everyone's neck, creating a ton of stress. The influencer, though, they lead by just embodying competence and calm. They focus on building trust, on aligning the team's energy, and that creates an environment where people actually want to do great work. Their presence does all the heavy lifting. In relationships, control looks like making demands, applying pressure, trying to force someone to change. All that does is create distance. Influence is the total opposite. It's about being fully present, offering understanding, and creating a space of emotional safety where a real connection can actually grow. And how about with ourselves, with our own habits? The control approach is just brute willpower, and we all know where that usually leads: burnout. The influence approach is so much more sustainable. It's about aligning your actions with the person you actually want to be and building that belief in yourself, what we call self-efficacy, through small, consistent wins. You're not fighting yourself anymore. You're just becoming yourself. Okay, so how can you actually start to cultivate this power of influence, like right now? Well, here's a super simple, actionable practice you can use anytime your day starts to feel like it's going off the rails. It's called the influence reset. Okay, step 1, just pause. That's it. Take a breath and just notice what's going on inside you. Stressed, scattered, whatever it is, just notice it. No judgment. Step 2, realign. Ask yourself, what's my real intention here? What do I really want? Connect back to that deeper purpose. And finally, step 3, proceed. Go on and take your next action, but do it from that more centered, more aligned place. Simple as that. So, let's just recap the big ideas here. First, your presence, that energy you're radiating, that's your true power. Second, always seek to influence through alignment, not control through force. Third, remember that your inner world is the cause of everything. And finally, you got to seal those inner leaks where you're just giving your power away. And that kind of leaves us with one last thought to really chew on. In a world that is completely obsessed with external action, with doing more, what if the most important, the most effective work you could ever do is the work you do on your own inner state? Next time, we're going to build on these ideas when we explore the power of inner harmony. So if this was helpful, make sure you subscribe and go check out the full Classic Wisdom playlist for more. Thanks for joining me.